Principals have a vital role in monitoring a classroom construction. This video was made to guide principals on how to effectively record their observations and comments through the use of the Principal's Inspection Log. After watching this video, viewers should be able to enumerate and understand each of the 4 key stages of the classroom construction, perform roles of a principal in the process of the classroom construction, and effectively use the Principal's Inspection Log in monitoring the classroom construction. Like a homeowner who oversees the construction of his or her residential home, a principal has the responsibility to help ensure that the classroom being constructed by the contractor is safe and functional for the students and teachers. The principal has the right to bring up his or her concerns to the contractor to make sure that every stage of the classroom construction process is addressed with proper care and attention to details. Before revisiting the monitoring process, it is important for the principal to understand the key stages of the classroom construction, from pre-construction to structural construction, to the internal and external finishings and internal fittings, and to the finalization and handover. Stage 1 is pre-construction. This stage covers initial site selection meeting with the DepEd division engineer, clearing the site prior to start of the construction, initial meeting with the contractor and the DepEd division engineer, and inspection of sample materials. Stage 2 is structural construction. This stage covers work activities of the contractor of a 1 or 2-story classroom construction, from the ground area, the second floor, and the roofing and ceiling works. The classroom construction covers the following: the layout and excavation of footing and foundation that involve setting out of the building based on the approved site development plan as identified during site validation, including floor elevations and finished classrooms, and excavations of foundation as per approved drawings. Reinforcing bars that comprise of installation of footing, columns, and tie beam reinforcing bars. Formworks and scaffolding that entail installation of footing, columns, and tie beam side forms, and construction of formworks, scaffolding, second floor beams, suspended slab, and stair and landings. Concreting works that include concreting works on footing foundations, and concreting works on the first lift of columns, footing, tie beams, and roof beams. Masonry works that involve installation of concrete hollow block wall works and installation of door and window jambs. Roofing and ceiling works of the classroom construction covers the following: roof trusses that involve fabrication and installation of roof trusses, purlins, and fascia boards. Roof sheetings that entail installation of roof sheets, ridge rolls, flashings, and gutters. Ceiling works that include installation of ceiling joists and installation of ceiling boards. Stage 3 is the internal and external finishings and internal fittings. This stage covers the completion of the internal area and external area. The internal area includes the walls, finishings, ceilings and floor of the classroom, hallways, stairways, and comfort rooms. Specifically, it involves the installation of the doors, windows, blackboard, electrical fixtures, and toilets, whereas the external area includes the completion of the roof gutters, walls, ramps for persons with disabilities, and ground areas. Stage 4 is the finalization and handover. This stage covers the final checking that the classrooms are completely constructed to the required quality standards, including rectification of punch list of corrected works. Understanding these key stages of the classroom construction will help principals to effectively monitor the construction process. But first, let's discuss the principal's inspection logbook. A principal's inspection log is a diary of the inspection made by the principal during the construction process. Its purpose is to maintain a factual record of observations made at each inspection. The principal should take the inspection logbook to the site at every visit, and when on site should input or record his or her observations on the ongoing construction activities. If, during an investigation, the principal has recorded in the inspection log any item that requires urgent attention, the principal should inform the Deputy Division Engineer immediately through phone conversation, email, or face-to-face conversation. The principal should also inform the contractor of items which the principal believes is not of satisfactory standard. At the end of each inspection, the principal will keep the inspection log in a safe place within the school premises, preferably the principal's office. Before the start of the construction, the principal should obtain the logbook from PMZ. Again, the principal's inspection log is the official logbook where a principal must document his or her observations during site inspections. The principal performs an important role at each stage of the construction of classroom buildings. Let's go through each of these roles during the 4 key stages. From pre-construction to the structural construction, to the internal and external finishings and internal fittings, and to the finalization and handover. Principal's key task in Stage 1, Pre-construction. Even before the construction begins, the principal has key responsibilities during the construction stage. During the initial site selection meeting with the Deputy Division Engineer, the principal will be informed by the Deputy Division Engineer regarding the plans for the classroom construction. The Deputy Division Engineer visits the site to carry out the initial site survey. That is to check that the site is of the right size and is suitable for the construction of the planned classrooms. It is important that a principal meet a Deputy Division Engineer and be informed about the plans for the classroom construction and about the exact location where the classrooms will be built. At this stage, the principal should also inform the Deputy Division Engineer about other planned development projects within the school site. If the principal has any concerns over the final site selection, or any other specific concerns, for example, regarding the access from the road to the new classroom block, the principal should raise the issues with the Deputy Division Engineer. Also, it is the principal's responsibility to ensure that the site is cleared before the contractor arrives on site to start construction. If the principal foresees difficulties in completing this task, for example, moving derelict buildings from the site, he or she should ask the Deputy Division Engineer for assistance. Prior to the start of work on site, the principal should arrange an initial meeting with the contractor and the Deputy Division Engineer in order to discuss and agree about the contractor's on-site facilities, assist the contractor with documentation for possession of the site, agree how electricity and water will be used and settled by the contractor, and to ensure that the contractor understands key contract requirements such as the safety requirements, site security, to ensure that the students cannot access the site, and the non-use of child labor. The principal's key task in Stage 2 is structural construction. Immediately as the contractor starts to work on site, the principal must check that the marked outside of the construction is as agreed earlier with the DepEd Division Engineer. Check that the contractor's staff are using proper safety equipment, such as hard hats, boots, and gloves. And ensure that the site is adequately fenced off and that the ground areas are kept in a safe condition, cleaned and free from construction debris, in order to prevent physical injuries to the workers and to the students near the site. The principal should be vigilant at every visit to check that there is no use of child labor and that there are no activities on site that might be a cause of exploitation of women. The principal must make sure that the visits of guests are done during office hours and that the construction site must be well lit and properly secured during the night. The principal should also attend the sample materials inspection meeting with the DepEd engineer and the contractor. During this meeting, the principal will be able to see samples of the approved components and materials which are to be used in the construction. This will help the principal in recording observations when any suspected substandard materials are delivered or are being used. Generally, when the principal observes specific materials, he or she should check the items in reference to the sample materials held on site. Such as reinforcing steel bars, sand and gravel, cement, concrete hollow blocks, and concrete cylinders. In every site inspection visit, the principal's role is very important. The principal's role is much like that of a homeowner who is building an extension of their home, where quality of work and materials used is of paramount importance. To be able to check the quality of the classroom construction, the principal should take both scheduled and unannounced site visits. The principal should visit the site at least once per week and, when possible, to join the DepEd Division Engineer and or the DepEd Physical Facilities Coordinator during these visits. The principal must wear appropriate safety gear, specifically a hard hat, during each site visit. Scheduled visits should be planned and arranged in advance with the contractor so that the contractor and the contractor's project engineer or site foreman is on site to discuss the progress and answer questions. Unannounced visits should take place on random basis so that arrangements on site are seen when an inspection visit is not expected. Also, during each visit, the principal should check whether the construction is progressing according to the agreed time frame. For example, lack of workmen on site would be a red flag condition, unless the contractor can give assurance that the progress is on plan and that the absence of staff from the site is due to a specific reason, such as waiting for the delivery of certain materials. In order to help the principal record observations when monitoring the progress of the construction, the principal must use the inspection logbook during each site inspection visit. Principal's key task in Stage 3. During Stage 3, the internal fittings and internal and external finishings, the principal should continue the weekly visits and should focus on checking whether the internal areas, such as the classrooms, hallways, stairways, and toilets, and the external areas such as the roof gutters, walls, ramps for persons with disabilities, and ground areas are installed and finished to the standard required as these components are being completed. In this context, the principal can assume that this work is being done at his or her own home. Therefore, he or she must accept quality classroom construction work that he or she believes is safe and suitable, as if it was indeed for his or her own family. In the internal areas, the principal should inspect the individual areas for approval. The principal must check that all doors open and close properly. Check that all door locks work. Check that windows open and close properly. Check that window locks are secure and that they work properly. Check window security grills are fully installed and secured. Check wall surfaces are in pristine condition. Check the blackboard if its joineries are fitted properly. Check the blackboard if its wall surfaces are fully painted and are in pristine condition. Check ceiling surfaces are fully smoothened. Check all covings are fully fitted, smoothened, and fully painted. Check all floor surfaces are fully flattened and smoothened. Check lighting fixtures are installed properly and are fully functional. Check light switches are properly installed and are working well. Check convenience outlets fixtures are properly installed. For toilets, check that the tiles and materials are of approved size and quality. Check all floor drains are tested and are fully functional. Check water faucets or taps are properly installed with no leaks and that they are fully functional. Check wash basins or lavatories are properly installed and are tested for leaks. Check water supply is properly connected and water pressure is satisfactory. Principal's key task in Stage 4. The fourth stage covers the final checking and handover. In this stage, the principal inspects that the classrooms and other areas thereof are finished up to the required quality standards. Once the project reaches a physical accomplishment of 95%, the contractor will request the DepEd representatives, which includes the school principal, to conduct a pre-final inspection. During the pre-final inspection, a process called punch listing is done. Punch listing is the final check that the construction has been completed in accordance with the approved contract. This requires the use of a document called a punch list, which records the inspection team's findings of defects, deficiencies, and remaining works which require rectification or additional corrective works before the contractor can hand over the building to DepEd. Findings will be itemized in the punch list by the DepEd division engineer so that remaining works can be agreed on and monitored. The punch list of the final works, when fully completed by the contractor, shall be validated through a conduct of the joint final inspection by the construction team. The school principal shall also ensure that the following documents and items are turned over by the contractor, such as the door keys, warranty certificates, manuals, plans, permits, certificate of completion, and the certificate of turnover and acceptance. Once construction is complete, the inspection log shall be turned over to the school's division superintendent to form part of the final closing documents of the project. To summarize, the role of the principal at this stage shall include the following: pre-final inspection with the construction team at 95% completion of the project, final inspection with the construction team once punch list of corrective works are fully rectified or at full completion of the project, signing of the certificate of completion, and the signing of certificate of turnover and acceptance. With the valuable commitment of the principal in the classroom construction process, we can ensure that the students learn in a child-friendly, gender-sensitive, safe, and motivating environment.